Hello, this is Mike, NoStressMike.com. Okay, we're talking about blood. Now, like I say, war. Some of the realities of war that people don't like to think of is the blood. And one is, like we already talked about, brother against brother, this type of stuff. I mean, it really rips families apart. The political goals sometimes are so different, such as communism and capitalism, that there's nothing in between. And as we see now, we have the communists are just going plumb crazy with President Trump. And I don't want to say communists are like that, because they're not. What they're doing, it's a tactic to get communism here in the United States. That's why they act so radical. And that's why the families will be torn apart. But the worst part, and, well, I don't want to say worse, that's pretty bad already when your family gets torn apart in the thinking. When family values are set back to political ideology, thinking, their type of political thinking. That's sad. But one of the things in war, you hear me talk about the weak will perish. Well, the thing is, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to perish. One thing, it came to my mind, I went to see the Planet of the Apes, War with the Planet of the Apes, or something like that, here last week. And numerous times, either people or the apes would have been wounded, and they knew when they could see a wound, and they would know that's not a good wound. You're going to die. And the thing is, they just, okay, and they just performed, whether they had to go somewhere or whether they were fighting or whatever, they would do it until they were dead. Because they already knew they had a wound that they're going to die from. And that's, I don't really want to say that's a warrior mentality, because it's not. Some people accept death better than others. And because a lot of people just dope me up and, let me die. And then there's other people who say, well, here, go cut somebody else's heart out and give it to me. You know what I mean? So there's all different kinds of ways like that. But one of the things that got me is I already realize that, like I say, because I said the weak will perish, but also, like I say, there's not going to be enough medical attention that fast. One thing that I started thinking, and in Vietnam, I saw a lot of death. Now, But the one thing that I didn't see is dying. And after I thought about it, yeah, I've seen people that are not doing good and they're dying, yes. But to see someone go through all the stages of death, to death, I've really only had one, and that was my wife, 5 years ago. And like I say, I saw her going from taking medication, getting sick, getting operated on, keep operating on them, and then they just allow, then they drug her up and then just allow her to die. And I was thinking, man, it was tough, but yeah, it was my wife. But after now I'm thinking about it, that's the first time I've ever seen it. That the total part. In Vietnam, they said the average time from when you get hit, the average time is 20 minutes, and you're going to be on a evacuation helicopter. You're going to be evacuated out. 20 minutes. That's what they said the average time was. And I started thinking about it, and these people, when somebody gets wounded, we would, patch them up somewhere. Well, I didn't even do it. We had, like I say, the medic would, the corpsman, he would patch them up. And then they put them on a helicopter, and then they're gone. We don't know if these people live or not. Now, the ones that they don't have a life-threatening injury, they come back. You break your leg, in 2 weeks or 2 months, you'll see them back out in the jungle again. So, I never saw the complete part. When somebody's wounded and they continue deteriorating, bleeding out, or infection, and this type of stuff that would take days. For them to, they lose their appetite. And like I say, the infection starts getting on them, and their heart rate starts, going crazy, and death is. It wasn't pretty what I saw. And but in Vietnam, we didn't see it. Yes, we had the bodies laying on the ground, and you had them covered. You always cover the bodies. Now, as I think about it, I realize one of the reasons why you cover the bodies is you don't want people looking at the dead people. You go over there and you look, see that's who that is, and then you put it back down again. But you don't want people seeing the dead bodies. It's bad for morale. It's not a good thing, and it'll weaken you. And so now the sick. So now I'm thinking, well, good, they got them out of there. Well, that was good also, because I can't imagine being out in the jungle and hearing these people moaning and groaning or screaming and hollering, all this stuff, for days as they die. And this is something that we're going to have to face. In war, that's what happens. Like I say, now if you got a big support system behind you, like a whole military, it's going to be different. But like I say, here, we're spread out. I mean, like I say, I'm out in Oklahoma, out in the middle of nowhere, and I don't know where you people are, but you people don't care about what happens in Oklahoma. Most people are on the coast, and they don't care what happens out here, so they don't care if I'm laying around moaning and groaning, screaming, hollering, and dying. But here, we're going to have to deal with that. And to tell you the truth, you're going to, right now, even the rioters, and they get messed up, what do? They go to the emergency. You know, I mean, even these robbers go rob a convenience store and get shot, and they end up going to a emergency room also. People don't know what it's going to be like when you're dying. And that's, now we're just talking, now I'm just talking about the part on the combat stuff, something happened to you. But you're also going to have the same thing in sickness. You know, I mean, same thing with me. I mean, if I don't get killed, I'm going to slowly die. And like I say, I don't take medicine. And so I'm willing to accept whatever happens to me. But that's me. You know, I know my wife, I wanted her to have medicine towards the end. So, death is going to be brutal when this shit hits the fan thing. And I think that's going to be the mark of it is shit hits the fan, is when death, the dying process of death, will be brutal. Now, like I say, take them to the emergency, let them deal with them, let them dope them up, let them do, you know, and then they die, you know, but you don't have to deal with it. There's going to be a time when we're going to have to deal, either with sickness or injury, stuff like that. It's going to be, it's nasty. That's the one thing that I really dislike thinking about. But that is a reality of shit hits the fan. This is Mike. NoStressMike.com.